Welcome to this edition of Diverse Orange. My guest today is Deborah Mitchell. Hello, Deborah.
Hi, Terry. How are you today?
I'm doing good. So,
Good.
Deborah, let's find out a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, Crown Heights, Park Slope, East Flatbush, and my parents are from Jamaica. So there's a big Caribbean community in Brooklyn. So I spent my formative years there, and later on in my 20s on, when I was working, I lived in Manhattan on the Upper West Side.
And
So
what brought you to Central Florida?
My mom. My mom actually moved here in 1985, and she's getting older. So I'm now a caregiver. She turned 94 this year.
Oh,
So yeah, I came down to help care for her, especially after the 2020 pandemic. Things changed. She needed help. So I moved down here.
so in your formative years, you probably were very much immersed in a Caribbean culture, kind of in that area.
Hmm.
Manhattan would be much more cosmopolitan, all kinds of things.
Hmm.
Um, what was your thoughts about Central Florida before you came here?
It's interesting because I'm comparing it now to 1985 when my mom moved here, and it was just so completely different. Lots of land and open space, and I just didn't know what to make of it. But she loved it. She enjoyed being here. I didn't spend a lot of time here, but when I came down in 2020, 2017, I've been here 6 years now. The change was amazing. Everything from the highways to the stores, it was just unbelievable. It was a very different place. And leaving New York, I was definitely worried because you know how cosmopolitan and diverse New York is. So I was very concerned about what my experience is going to be down here. And I had to work a little harder to connect with different cultures and different people. But I found my footing. I met some good people, and I'm still discovering things. So it's been an experience, definitely.
And have you connected with the Caribbean community here?
Slowly but surely, I am. Yes. My mom, she actually was living in Palm Coast, and they have a pretty big Caribbean community there. So I met some of her friends there. And in Orlando, I'm slowly reaching out and meeting some people. I've obviously found the food because I love food. So the Caribbean market on West Colonial, I found that so I could get some of the staples, and a couple of restaurants too. There's a group, the Jamaica Americans Central Florida Association. I'm going to be looking into joining them, and Jamaicans.com. So, yeah, they have a pretty active website, and so I'm always checking in to see what's going on over there.
And have you yourself been to Jamaica?
Oh my gosh, yes. I love Jamaica. When we were younger, we had a house there, so we would go back and forth. And for a long time, that was the only island that I went to. And so it was, have you been? It's amazing. Uh,
I have, yes, I have been, but briefly.
Okay. Okay. So the Blue Mountains of Jamaica, the air, the food, the water, everything is just, it's amazing. So as a child, we would go back and forth and spend time there and then go back to Brooklyn. And as I got older, I started discovering other Caribbean islands, which I would always compare to Jamaica. So Jamaica's home. And but I guess the last time I was there was probably 2015, I think. Yeah, for a quick visit. Hmm.
Well, in New York or here, have you encountered any times when your heritage, your skin color, have made you feel by some people outside or discriminated against?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in both places, I'll have instances where that's happened. I mean, in Manhattan, when I lived in on the Upper West Side, it's predominantly Jewish, and very few people of color. And I was living there in the '90s, so usually, if you saw someone there, they were either celebrity, or they were working for someone in the neighborhood. So it was very rare to see people of color. So there were times where I had instances where I had to actually set the record straight as far as why I was in the neighborhood, how I belonged in the neighborhood, and yeah, it came up quite a few times. And here in Florida, I have to say that I haven't really had that problem. I'm connected with people who are of like mind. People who I know from New York put me in touch with people here, so that's been wonderful. The Global Peace Film Festival is one of the first festivals that I joined, working with Fusion Fest. So it's a very diverse group, and that's been really nice and welcoming.
What do you think is most needed for our unity?
People to take the time to really understand each other, talk to each other. Don't make assumptions about who you think someone is. Um, really spend time talking to them. I'm a very friendly person, whether it's through business or personally, and I'm curious, and I believe everybody has a story to tell. So I want to hear the story, and so I'll take the time to talk. And I think more people need to do that. Talk, ask questions, just be willing to consider other points of views, and be curious about each other.
Have you found, as you think back, has there been anybody that changed as they finally got to know you?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, that's a good question, Terry. I can't think off the top of my head of someone in particular,
Okay.
but I'm trying to think of. I have to come back to that because I have to think if I've had discussions where we were on different sides of the fence, and then once we started talking, we came together. So that's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit.
All right. If you want to, cool.
Yeah.
And what would you say are some of the strongest things you've seen in Central Florida that are good for building cross difference relations?
Well, there are what I was surprised to find, which I actually found through the Migration Film Festival, is that there are so many different cultures. And in New York, you tend to run into things very easily. Here, you really have to make a concerted effort to seek them out. So, if you're going to seek them out, you're going to have to actually make the time to either take a trip and discover what festival they are, or where they are, what restaurant they are. You have to do the work. So it takes a little bit more effort here in Florida. So that doesn't bother me. I'll drive an hour. I'll drive wherever I need to go to explore and find the diverse culture.
You seem like a person who will just tackle whatever
Mm-hmm.
and will make it work. So I hope that you have been able to feel like Central Florida is home, that you have a place here.
It's feeling more like home every day.
Great. Well, thank you very much for joining me today to talk about this issue. Any other thoughts or questions you want to
Well,
pose?
as I told you earlier in the week, I'm looking forward to the dining experiences. I haven't been very involved with it, so I'm looking forward to just going to some of the restaurants you all have been to before, and in 2024 checking out what you have coming up.
Great. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your time today, and thank you all for watching this edition of Diverse Orange. Bye. Little extra time.
Yeah. Little pad.